Previously on Schooled.
They told me that they didn't have any seats available for the school that my son wanted to go to.
Hopefully, I can get them into Arthur Ashe.
Y'all feeling out with you?
We're eventually told that there wasn't a spot.
But those schools can only take so many students.
I hate the one app.
It's not a priority that I live 3 blocks away from the school.
The one app does not work.
I wake up at 5:45. We got to walk them 9 blocks to the bus stop by 6:33.
We're spending $44 million for transportation where we used to spend $13 million.
There are parts of our city that still don't have a lot of A and B schools.
I still feel like having a centralized enrollment system is critically important. It was the right thing to do.
I'm Gina Swanson. It is a touchy subject in New Orleans public education. How are schools doing more than a decade after Hurricane Katrina and one of the largest and most ambitious public school reform efforts this country has ever seen? As part of our Project Community series, we wanted to know what's going on in our schools, what works, what doesn't, and where do we go from here? To be sure, Orleans Parish schools were in need of an overhaul, but we wanted to know more about the overhaul we got. How do we measure achievement? What do the numbers say? What do they mean? And most important, what are students saying? So we sifted through the data. We talked to students about what helps them learn and what stands in their way and why. Overall, we wanted to answer the question, are schools doing better now than they were before the storm? The answer depends on who you ask.
The school system has, to me, since Katrina, it has improved a lot. You know, there's still a work in process, but it has improved a lot.
5. I have a total of 5 boys. They're doing okay. They're doing okay. It's not like when I was in school, but they're doing pretty good.
Like, we're not very good at like our education, cause our school, Savannah, is no longer there. Got another school took over again.
Well, if we keep on the same path that we have been going for 13 years, we'll have a very, very small population that will be able to participate in society. Most of our kids are not going to have any skills to participate politically, and you essentially create an apartheid system where most of them are poor. And what do they do to live their American dream?
It's not hard to see why some people think the reforms are a great success and why some see it as a failure. I think you could conclude that it's a failure if you're more worried about having neighborhood schools and having the schools be a magnet for the community that helps to build up local neighborhoods. All those are reasons not to like it. But at the same time, we see these positive results.
Positive results like increases in student achievement in high school and college graduation rates. Education leaders and researchers like Doug Harris say by many indicators, the numbers are headed in the right direction. Still, in order to understand where we are in terms of school reform, we have to explore how we got here. When Katrina struck in August of 2005, the state had already taken over 5 schools deemed academically unacceptable.
There are 170 public schools in New Orleans that are performing below state standards. And these are the ones that Blanco says must come under the state school recovery district she is proposing.
It took the storm of a lifetime to create the opportunity of a lifetime, an opportunity to start anew in a thoughtful, organized, and measured way that serves every single child.
By November, 3 months later, the state transferred control of more than 100 schools to the Recovery School District with the stroke of a pen. The threshold for failing schools went from 60 to the state average at the time, 87.4. The only thing that changed was the law. The legislature changed the definition of what constituted a failing school to facilitate a state takeover.
I can see why people would not be happy with the reforms. I can see why, from a process standpoint, they wouldn't be happy with it because the way in which the reforms were put in place, in the aftermath of the storm, but also since then, in terms of somewhat limited community engagement, really being driven from Baton Rouge.
But that was supposed to change last year when schools made the shift back to local governance under the Orleans Parish School Board.
This board, within the first 90 days of unification, is passing policy to actually make changes where if you live within a certain half-mile radius of a school, you have the opportunity to be able to actually attend that school.
Since that time, OPSB has made some high-profile moves.
Whether you have the word charter or not, at the end of the day, as a parent, I want my child to receive the best possible education.
Closing some underperforming schools and tweaking the one-app enrollment process.
It was not about the one-app enroll NOLA or a common enrollment system. It was about school quality.
Still, it's difficult to see the bigger picture. How much does OPSB governance really mean for education in the city?
You know better than that, man. You know Dr. Joe Boyd. That's Dr. Joe Boyd. Yeah, Dr. Let the man speak. That's Dr. Boyd. You know who it is.
State Representative Joe Bowie says putting schools back under local governance is a step in the right direction because there's an elected board that can be held accountable.
Because as long as RSD had them, we had no control.
Y'all around here passing out charters like y'all Oprah or something. Look under your seat. You get a school. You get a school. You get a school. Face the ball. Face the ball.
It gives the control of our schools back in the hands of the people we elect specifically, but back in the hands of the people now.
Be grown, put on your big boy and girl drawers, and stand up for children.
So I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
From a policy standpoint, school reform can be complicated and confusing. But what does it look like? How does it play out in the classroom? What are the implications for everyday students like Robert Reed?
Then kids used to always judge me because like how old I was. Because like I'm 17 and I'm in the 10th grade now. And I graduated in 2021 and I'll be 20 years old.
Robert is one of many Orleans Parish students who is older than expected for his grade level. In 2014, almost a decade into the reforms, roughly 40% of public high school students across the city had been retained, held back for at least one grade. Nearly half of seniors had been held back at least 1 year. So at some of the city schools, a large share of seniors will be 19 or 20 years old when they graduate. It is an unintended consequence of the school reform movement. Since 2004, high proportions of students were held back in the 4th or 8th grade because they had failed the state sleep exam, a standardized test given to students to gauge how Louisiana school children are doing compared to kids in other states. Though it was seen as a key reform, we now know that it penalized students for circumstances beyond their control, especially in the chaotic early days of school reform when many schools were not sufficiently staffed or operated. Robert's classmate, Kenya Dispenza, was also held back at a young age.
Personally, school reforms, they set me back a little bit. I was kept back and forth, so it didn't really help me at that point. At my middle school, we had a shortage of teachers, mostly. It was science and math. We did not have a science or math teacher for at least 2 of my 8 years going. It was pretty hard coming into high school, not having the full education I really needed in freshman year.
I don't think most people object to standardized testing itself. It's the stakes that are attached to it that then end up driving what's going on in the school, drive instruction, teaching to the test, all those things that's driven by the high stakes, not by the having the test itself.
Some schools have developed new ways of keeping older students engaged and bringing them up to grade level. Roberts in Kenya's school, Livingston, has a good reputation for this.
I love the school. I've been here since last year. I'm a sophomore now. My first year here, it was good, but it was a struggle at the same time. My first quarter, I had a 3.0. That was the first 3.0 I had my whole life. It like really helped me and really made me realize that getting a 3.0 and wearing a green shirt, which is an honorable shirt, it really made me realize the type of character I actually am.
So what's the secret formula? Nationally, charter schools first began so that school leaders could try creative new approaches to spur more learning. Here in Louisiana, the state described the New Orleans reforms as an experiment.
That's the thing, people don't realize when I use the word experiment, that's not me. That's what the law says. 1739-71 and 1739-2 define what charters are supposed to be doing as part of the experimental reform approach or movement in Louisiana, because the law clearly says that those charters were to do experimental approaches, but they were also to collect data to measure the outcomes of the approaches. And if the outcome proved effective and efficient, they were to replicate and duplicate. And if it did not, they were to eliminate. I would say with confidence that the Louisiana Department of Education cannot identify one evidence-based approach, what we commonly refer to as best practice, that came out of the experiments of any of the charter schools.
Doug Harris says that the takeover process ultimately drives elimination of ineffective approaches.
Certainly models out there that fairly consistently raise student achievement. There's no question about that. But in this system, the schools get to decide that. They have to pick their approach, and if they're not succeeding, then the contract will be ended and somebody else will be given a shot.
We don't know what's behind Livingston's success, but students say it's rapport with teachers.
It has to do with these middle numbers, which are very closely related to something we've done.
I feel like if teachers would have this type of relationship with students and like be able to connect with them more, they'll feel like capable. That connection, that make you want to do your work. I know it do with me.
Kenya also appreciates that Principal Evan Stout holds regular seminars with her class.
And he would explain to us either our schedules or just gives us some type of motivational speech or spiel, as we say, about just life in general. Sometimes we think it's a waste of time, but on other days it's just like, this is something we actually really need to hear at the end of the day.
When you show up to school and you have a group of teachers who make eye contact with you, say good morning, and know you, who you hope to be, we can build what our school needs to be around the students that are in the school.
See what Bromart has.
I go where the Garden District
meets the Irish Channel.
Specialty beers and fine wine.
I go to Bromart all the time.
See what Bromart has.
A great day at Dudley DeBosier is when I get to put a check in somebody's hand. I mean, think about it. They came here for us to take care of them, and that's what we get to do.
Our mission statement at Dudley DeBosier is that we want to change the way people think about attorneys, one relationship at a time.
The first time somebody comes into our office, they're not sure what to expect from an attorney. When they leave here, they've made a friend, and they know that everything's going to be okay.
Demand Dudley DeBosier, 444-4444.
The time is right, the party's just begun, and the good times roll. Yeah, let the good times roll, and have some fun, and let those good times roll.
Around here, the good times never end. Right now, get 0% for 60 months plus $2,000 bonus cash on a 2019 Edge or Explorer. Only at your Southern Quality Ford dealer.
See what Bromart has.
I make my groceries in Metairie. I go for the savings.
Organic, specialty beers, and fine wines.
I go to Bromart all the time.
See what Bromart has.
Now back to the question. Are schools doing better now than they were before Katrina? And it's difficult to know for sure. That's because there is no apples to apples comparison to show us how students have improved. None of the tests have remained the same. Even the city's population has changed and the amount of funding that goes to schools. Even researcher like Doug Harris, who has studied these reforms intensely, found himself questioning whether he was seeing real improvement.
And when I first saw the test score results, I said, okay, test scores have gone up a lot. Not totally sure how to interpret that, because it could just be that they're focusing more on the tests, and because the stakes are so high for the schools, they've got to get those test score results up. That you can imagine there are lots of different ways to get the scores up that don't necessarily involve a lot of real learning.
We've now been at the reforms for nearly 14 years, and while there are some indicators that student progress has stalled, some measures are showing increases. Harris became more convinced when he saw a group of positive results.
Then you start to see the high school graduation results, and then you see the college results, and they're all pointing the same way, that they're all substantial improvements on all those measures, and it's really hard to get all those measures up at the same time. So I think it's definitely fair to say that there has been an improvement overall in academic achievement on those key measures.
Here's a snapshot of where we are by school. The 2018 school performance scores showed 7 A schools and 11 B schools, for a total of 18 A and B schools. The number of D and F schools are higher, with 18 and 15 schools totaling 33. The biggest bulge in school scores comes at the C level, the grade given to 32 schools. That's 41% of the city's schools. Early in the reform, scores did shoot up, but now they've stalled.
But that was almost like the low-hanging fruit, to take kids who were abysmally low, across several thousand kids, to focus in very strongly on, we're going to create a school culture, reading skills, and start using blended learning models. And we saw like this dramatic rise.
It's been about 3 years now where it's pretty clearly there has not been any improvement, across the board improvements. We don't have a perfect handle on exactly what's causing that.
The system of schools didn't get to the low quality in general that it was in 2005, over a 5, 10, 15-year period. That was like systemic generational failures. And it's going to take systemic generational intentionality and successes in order to move us to the place where we know we can be. So don't take any plateauing as something meaning that this is as good as it gets. This is not a fast sprint. It's a long, steady marathon. But I just feel like we're headed in the right direction.
We improved for a long time at an impressive rate on all these measurable outcomes. But now that we've hit this plateau, I think the question is, well, how do you take it to the next level? And I don't think there's a great answer for that just yet.
As the Orleans Parish School Board tries to understand how to move past the plateau, its data shows that in that big pile of C schools, there are differences. While some are stagnant and struggling, others are really helping students learn in a way that doesn't show up in the state's longtime measure, the school performance score.
So the way the school performance score is calculated is to look at where students are scoring at the end of the school year. So the problem with that is that students are coming in at different levels and have a much different likelihood of getting to those levels. And one example is the students who come in over age and they've been grade retained and they're coming in at a low level to start with. So some schools have a lot more of those students than others, but that's not taken into account in the calculation. We're not doing a very good job of measuring performance.
Harris said that when students who are lagging make gains, a school's low performance score may not be telling the whole story.
If you have a school that has a high progress index and a lower school performance score, that's a sign to me that school is probably not being judged very fairly with the school performance score.
Now, instead of emphasis on the school performance score, school leaders are focused on growth and a new measure called the Progress Index, which is based partly on growth, how much individual students learned within a year's time.
This school, even though it has this name, is in the top quartile of growth in the city. That's phenomenal growth. Oh yeah, their letter grade may still be a D, but they are doing phenomenally well with kids that are in certain circumstances.
Though it still puts too much emphasis on performance over growth, it is a better measure, according to Doug Harris.
It's a step in the right direction, but just a very, very small step.
Life's full of hopes. We hope she'll say yes. We hope we get the job. We hope for a miracle. But our hope doesn't always come through. Someone else got the job. We didn't make the cut. She liked someone else. But there is a different kind of hope. Hope that doesn't depend on people or circumstances. And this hope will never disappoint us. Visit hereforyou.org.
It's important for us to know where our food is coming from. Our customers love to eat, love to cook, so we wanted the best olive oil in the world.
We press these olives within 24 hours to produce the best quality possible.
My great-grandfather came from southern Italy. It's really exciting to partner with other family businesses such as the Bono family.
Family to family is a great combination.
The Rooms to Go 28th anniversary sale ends Tuesday. And if you've ever dreamed of owning a Tempur-Pedic mattress, now's the time. Get an incredible night's sleep for as low as $25 a month with interest-free financing for 88 months. Right now, you can bring home the unmatched comfort of a Tempur-Pedic mattress with an incredible Rooms to Go anniversary offer and payments starting at just $25 a month, interest-free for 88 months. Hurry in. The Rooms to Go 28th anniversary sale ends Tuesday.
Get your new truck today at our Silverado Superstore.
When nothing less than the most dependable will do, choose Bill-Hood Chevrolet in Covington for your next Chevy truck. Right now, save $13,500 off new Silverados, or buy a new Colorado for just $23,405. Plus, cruises are just $13,936. Shop today at Bill-Hood Chevrolet in Covington, doing business the right way since 1929.
Your truck, your way. At Bill Hood Chevrolet in Covington.
Visit hoodchevy.com.
Today, the city's charter schools and their boards have autonomy over personnel decisions and the day-to-day operation of schools. Little things have also changed. Most students now snap their fingers instead of clapping. They start most classes with an exercise called a Do Now and end them with a short quiz called an exit ticket. Few students have lockers or coat hooks. Most carry everything with them in a backpack. Things have changed in ways that don't always make sense for those of us who grew up in traditional public schools. We found a literal textbook example at Cohen College Prep High School on Dryads Uptown.
We need textbooks. That's just the bottom line. I don't have textbooks for none of my classes. And I feel like that's absurd to me because when I was in Texas, I had textbook for every last one of my classes. And I did well in every last one of my classes. Instead of just giving out packets consistently and having someone talk at me, you know, I feel like a textbook is more specific. It has more examples. It helps you out. So I feel like at the end of the day, no matter what school's not giving money, what you need money for, I feel like at the end of the day, every school deserves textbooks, period.
Cohen College Prep students Satoria Lambert and Genesis Hammond wanted to know if the school board could help them get books. Honestly, we didn't know either. If the Orleans Parish School Board has the roadmap for reforms, when does it take the wheel? We asked Deputy Superintendent Amanda Aiken, who's in charge of what's now called the school board's portfolio. It's schools.
We have 50,000 kids in the system, and not every kid is going to learn off of a textbook. We choose to give that decision to the school to say, hey, maybe I have 10 kids who need this book, and I have 20 kids who need a packet, and I have this 15 kids who need an intervention on the laptop, and I have this other child who the teacher has to just do a whole other specialized program for. And that is what that is how we approach something like textbooks.
Meaning, no two schools may have the same policy when it comes to books or other essential school functions. As with so many issues in New Orleans, it comes back to equity and perceptions of equity through the eyes of our children. These students say friends at higher-ranking schools all have textbooks or at least an electronic text that they can log into when they're doing homework or studying for exams. But not the students at Cohen, who also complained about Cohen's policy of giving RTA bus tokens to students who live uptown instead of providing yellow school buses like most other schools.
I'm a short girl, I'm young. And you know, I don't be knowing about all this, you know, I don't know a lot about buses, where they go and where they do this. Because my parents, they're really strict and they don't like me going off, being in RTA by myself in public, you know. Anything could happen.
They feel shortchanged. And this perception of inequity is backed up by data. Cohen is a D school. A report about school equity by the Urban League of New Orleans found that D or F schools had higher concentrations of Black and brown youth and the highest concentrations of poverty. They're more likely to be taught by inexperienced teachers and teachers who are not certified for the subjects they're teaching. Our WDSU analysis found that Cohen has less money to spend on books when compared to some of the more sought-after A schools. We compared instructional expenditures from each school's general fund for the 2017-2018 school year. Cohen spent just over $7,000 per pupil, compared with $8,300 at Ben Franklin and Lusher.
When you look at it, or when you think about it, these private schools and schools like Lusher and Ben Franklin, they have textbooks. We paying taxes. My parents are paying taxes. Why we can't get money for textbooks?
We took the issue of textbooks to the Board of College Prep, the charter management organization that runs Cohen School. The board's vice chair, Sean Rafferty, told us it wasn't within his purview to know that Cohen didn't typically use books.
We do come observe the school and we ask questions, but it's not our job to, and we don't want it to be our job to manage things such as instructional materials. But when we hear about an issue such as this, we are very close to the administration tomorrow I'll call up Joel and say, what's going on with instructional materials, and ask him for an answer. And he'll give it to me.
But CEO Joel Castro said that textbooks are basically outmoded.
Textbooks in and of themselves are not going to move the needle for us. For one reason, they're oftentimes published by textbook companies that are out of state, that are really focused on standards of other states and that are then sold or marketed in our state. So that doesn't mean they're all bad. What it does mean, though, is they can't be relied on to be an end-all be-all in terms of educational delivery.
Castro says that because not all of his students have internet access and because of research on the effectiveness of homework, they try to limit the work sent home.
What you have to do is then teach within the captured school day to make certain that while you have the student, that you deliver as much of the instructional expectation as possible.
When I have children, I want the school system to be basically what it is not for me. I feel like that all kids in New Orleans don't get the same education. There are some kids who get better education than others, and that's just the honest truth.
Deputy Superintendent Amanda Aiken says the board must address inequities to succeed. To that end, her office checks to make sure that all schools are using ambitious curricula and looking out for students. It is the only way to move schools off the 3-year plateau. The newly formed Office of School Support will also offer help to schools in a way that the board's regulatory arm cannot.
We can see when schools are in decline, right? But as the regulator, that's all we used to do was just regulate, which means your school would be in decline, and if you get to your renewal year, and you're not where you're supposed to be, you could lose your charter. We created an Office of School Support and Improvement. Knowing that we have 50,000 children in our system, we can't sit and watch a school decline without intervening.
While Satoria Lambert is concerned about the inequities she sees, like not having books or yellow school buses, she says that sometimes the biggest divide she experiences is the age-old divide between child and adult. In our new system of schools, that may be one reality that hasn't changed.
Adults, at the end of the day, they have their own perception, they have their own way of doing things. We as students, we wouldn't understand them and they wouldn't understand us, because at the end of the day, they still adults and they still gonna have their own way of how a school should be ran.
There is no doubt that an overhaul of public education is not easy. It is an unprecedented reform effort that has seen successes and has seen gains level off. A system of schools with both good intentions and stark inequities. There seems to be a disconnect between the education policy makers and the students and parents they affect. Of all the changes in New Orleans after the storm, it is most important that we get this right. Right now, our kids don't have time to wait. Until next time, I'm Gina Swanson.